What's good, YouTube? Welcome back. I'm your host, Remnant Prince. So, today we're going to be discussing just pearly things, right? So recently, she's been under fire, taking a lot of flack for her racy comments that she's been making on her channel with Nick Fuentes. So, I'm not going to talk too much. I'm going to play a couple clips and then I'm going to talk about it. So let's get into it.
Personally, I'm trying to get my Africans in America, so we're not gonna support them. Look at, please make it easy for me to immigrate next year.
Well, I will say, hey, they are more industrious than American blacks.
Get blessing in.
He can stay.
Well, look at everyone.
So, right here you can hear in this clip, they're talking about racial population across the world, basically. And Nick Fuentes, who I don't really know much about, he's commenting here saying that, American blacks are not as industrious as British African blacks are, right? So, it's quite loaded right there, kind of loaded, it's like a judgment, on the two racial backgrounds, but it's not really two, it's one, but it seems like there's some division in the thoughts there, right? I'm not really going to get too much into that because there's more here, so stay tuned, check it out.
Well, but you're very industrious.
Yeah.
There are a lot of people that would like to be a YouTuber because they'd like people to care about their opinions and like what they ate for lunch and, things about my life that just make sense or whatever. But how many people could make a company and deal with the things you deal with, like recruiting and, because I mean, not on the same scale as you, but I do things and it's tough. It's a business. It's fun in front of the camera, but behind the scenes, it's a business. And that is a German attribute to be industrious. I'm Italian. The only times I'm on time for things is when I get the time wrong, when I think I'm supposed to be there way earlier than I'm actually supposed to be there. Because I thought I was supposed to be here at 3.
Oh, really?
That's why I texted you. I texted you, I'm on my way, because I thought I was already 10 minutes late when I was leaving.
Yeah, well, it's okay. Blessing was more late African.
Well, he's black.
Yeah, that's quite intense. A lot of people probably say, it's nothing. A lot of people are probably really angry about this. And, it's quite touchy. To me, she kind of, it's obvious Nick Fuentes is apparently this white supremacist. I don't know for my own personal, but that's what's being said. And I think with the comments that he's made, I can understand why people say that. But this particular comment where they're basically saying that Africans or black people in general are bad with time, right? Or have poor time management or not really punctual. Well, as a black man myself, I understand this and understand where its basis lies. I think that, these are the things, like when you make these type of comments and you're not within the race, then it can be taken as an offense or quite offensive and rude because you're really judging and you're really touching the lines of being a racist, right? I'm not saying that Pearl is a racist. I'm not saying that Nick Fuentes is a racist. In my opinion, I think that they are racist. Right? But I'm not saying they are because I don't know them like that. But from what I'm hearing here, to me, it is a bit racist because at the end of the day, you know, talking about Pearl here, she hires, you know, mostly, you know, black people, and you know, they're right there with you. Whether they're there with you or not really doesn't make a difference, but to be able to make them type of jokes, you know, in front of each other or in front of people, it kind of pushes the envelope even more. So I mean, I think that she really put it on black people to say that, you know, black people are late people and bad with time, right? Nothing huge, but you know, it's rude, right? I think it's rude, and you know, like if I said something about, you know, the Jews, right, the Jewish people, whatever I say, right, it would be quite touchy for them, and you know, a lot of people would lift their eyebrows and stuff like that. Or if I said something about white people in general, you know, you would think that, oh, this guy is a racist or a bigot or whatever. So to me, it's along those lines, you know, and it just shows like people kind of reveal themselves. You know, if you give a person long enough time in the spotlight or enough of your attention, they will reveal their inner feelings, you know? And I think that, I think that that's what Pearl has done here. In this brief moment, she's began to reveal I think a lot of things that fester deep within her character that she doesn't really showcase to the world, right? Because that is a stage that they're sitting on. And, you know, people make stages to make money. It's going to be hard trying to use a particular race of people to make money on the basis of that same said race of people, right? AKA her fans and her supporters. So I think that it's a intelligent move to not really show your inner sides, especially if they're as ugly as that. But this one wasn't really the cake for me, right? The next clip that I'm about to play, that's the one that really kind of made the hairs on my back stand up. So with that, dude, just check it out.
The lesson of World War II, based on the horrors of the Holocaust, is like, this is what happens when nationalism goes awry. This is what happens when nationalism goes too far.
But your argument was the Holocaust was not special and all countries have done that.
Yeah, exactly.
And so you're saying, why is the Holocaust special?
Yeah, basically.
Oh. Okay, what do you mean, basically?
Well, yeah, I mean, because of course, you know, we're getting into the details of it, but yeah, that's the gist.
Yeah, I mean, but you kind of deny it happened.
I denied some of the parts of it.
You deny parts of it don't seem realistic to you. You think they were embellished upon.
I think they're embellished, yeah.
The same way. This sounds, oh gosh.
Oh boy.
They're gonna be in trouble. This sounds similar to the slavery stuff too, because that's literally the founder of, or the guy who made Roots said, I wanted a myth for my people to live by. So they often, but that's what they do, is they embellish, and I'm not trying to say it wasn't horrible, it was.
Right.
But they want to make it like more horrible so that they can control people.
There you go, right? You know, so I mean, again, a lot of people probably think, oh, you know, Prince, you're running and blowing this out the water, or blah, 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 blah. But this is the thing, you know, if it's not at your door, then you don't know the sound of the knock. And to me, it's like an attack, you know, like every day it happens, but we're not all aware of it, or, you know, it doesn't get filmed or, you know, voice noted or recorded or stuff like that. But these things happen every day, and this has been captured and put online for the world to see. And shockingly enough, Pearl has taken it down, right? Because this happened like a few days back. I'm a bit late to react, but you know, I watched it and I kind of had to collect my thoughts, right? So I think that, she said that Roots, the guy who made the show, she commented on his comment. He basically said that he made the actual show for a myth for his people to, have hope in, some sort of standard or whatever. I think that, we all know Roots isn't a true story, right? But the problem is, slavery is a true story. And people say she's being insensitive. I think that's just like the icing on the cake. I think what's under the icing is where the basis of who she really is lying, right? She, to me, I would say she is a racist, and a lot of people are going to get triggered, those that come here and watch and listen may unsubscribe, may make some people subscribe, but I really don't care. At the end of the day, the truth is the truth, and I'm making this channel, I make these videos to share my viewpoints, to share where I stand. And to me, she's racist because, you're not qualified, whatever that means, to speak on this stuff. You don't have no experience. Like, let's be real. You're not even in your 30s in this techno-social Me Too world. Like, really, these days, people don't really know what racism looks like. Don't get me twisted, some people do, and racist things still happen. But, going back like 20, 30 years, it was more blunt force, trauma. You know what I'm saying? It's more to the face, right? So there's a lot that these younger generations have no idea about. They think that everyone's their friend, right? And that we're all equal and things like that. But, that couldn't be the furthest thing from the truth. If you think that people that don't look like you have your best interests in their heart, then you'd be a fool to think that. And, I hate to say this, but being within the black community, even our own people have the worst ill, intent for each other. It's just keep it real, right? And that's not something I'm proud about, but it's the truth. So you'd be a fool to think that other people that don't even look like you are closer to you. White people have been making money on the backs of slaves since the beginning of time, but we don't have to go that far. We can just go back 400 years ago. They built all of these systems based on the slave trade and the slaves' labor that they got for free, right? And everywhere you have someone like Pearl, who's made her money and amassed her fame and success the way she has, you will have some Negroes in the background who are poor and gained nothing and have in fact lost everything. So, I think that to me is racist, because you're gonna now go online and she didn't make these comments about the Jewish community. She didn't make these comments about Asians or Arabs or Indians or any other race, Chinese. She made it about the black community, and saying that people use this type of stuff to embellish in order to control people. This is the thing, right? Who's controlling who? Because that's bullshit. What black people control anything? Like, let's just keep it G. What do black people even own? So last time I checked, you needed to own something or have some sort of influence to be able to control anything. You can't influence anybody if you don't own anything. You may influence people's public opinion to some degree because of the wealth you've amassed, but that's not long standing, right? That's not real credibility. when you compare it to all the other races that do own things, that do own nations, that do own land, that do own their own social marketplace, right? We don't own anything. We don't even own the names that we bear, right? And we don't want to get into straw man argument. Those that know. So, you have to be a fool to think that Pearl is not a racist. At least Nick Fuentes can admit that he's a racist. And, I don't like him, and I don't like many people. But I respect the fact that he can be honest. It doesn't really matter. But he's not hiding. But Pearl will hide. You know why? Because Nick Fuentes does not depend on a band of Negroes to make his money. But Pearl does. Right? But Pearl does. Right? And the joke is she's American. Right? I'm American too. But she would leave America to come all the way to England to so-called play volleyball and then pop doing YouTube, right? Now, a lot of people do YouTube. A lot of people popped and blew up over COVID. So I'm not trying to berate her for that. It is what it is. But it's like, okay, if we take off 90% of one race off of her channel, does Hannah become just pearly things? I think not. And I think that you got a lot of these Negroes, stepping fetches, coons, Uncle Toms, sad, pathetic men that, they just want to see Pearl win. You know why? Because at the end of the day, the red pill community is a bunch of men that are codependent. And that's why the red pill community exists, because the manosphere was supposed to be a place where people can grow. But you have to understand, not everyone is grown. Not everyone has matured. Otherwise, that community wouldn't be there. That market wouldn't be there. So really, you have a market of men who need a savior, right? And anything white is right. So I was on this guy, such a fucking loser, Mumia Obsidian's channel just last night, and Pearl came on there and she did a live stream and she's explaining and she's just bullshitting around. And to me, it's like I had listened to a lot of the guys, and Obsidian, he's like, oh, I don't think Pearl's a racist. She's just stupid. Like, okay, if Pearl's not racist, but she's stupid, so she's too stupid to be racist, then how stupid are you, Obsidian? Because she's got 1.37 million subscribers, and you have 27,000. You're even stupider, right? And it's like it's crazy to me how people will chase a check. And this is age old within our community. We have a lot of sellouts. We have a lot of guys that will literally chop their nose off to profit, their mouth. Do you understand what I'm saying? They will do whatever it takes to get that claim to fame, to have some grace within this social elite order, stepping with the bigwigs. And this is the problem. We as a community can't grow because as long as you have that type of black boy in our community, then we're always going to be divided. Now, one thing that did stand out to me is that in that interview yesterday, Unplugged, right, Pearl did say that she doesn't believe that black people should get reparations. Well, this is the thing. I don't give a crap about reparations, right? Because I believe in God and my faith lies with him. I don't need nobody to give me anything, right? But the thing is, I will speak on it and I will speak my truth. They owe us reparations. Doesn't just because I don't want it or I don't believe in it doesn't mean that the fact is we are owed for the slave labor that we never got paid for. Whether it was us generations back, it doesn't matter. Because we still are today who we were back then. But you know, Pearl, in her sick, twisted mind, she's going to sit there with her privileged ass and say some stupid shit like that. Right? Because you know, the truth is, this is white supremacy. They're not going to tell you, let's give them reparations. Yeah, we should give them. Because you know why? That would mean that they're admitting to the corruption and the crime that not only did they do hundreds of years ago, but is still standing strong today. I mean, let's be honest. They killed Dr. Sebi because he proved that he could heal HIV. Right? They literally took this guy to court and he won the case. Don't see Dr. Sebi anywhere these days, do you? You know why? Because he's dead. They killed him. So understand where I'm going with this. The fact that they had to kill this man, they tried to kill him in court. They tried to kill what his knowledge was in court, but they couldn't. So that wasn't enough for them. They had to literally whack this brother. They whacked the guy because, think about it. If Dr. Sebi has disproven AIDS, which they say is incurable, right? Then that would totally rewrite the science books. And this is my point. If the credibility, the credit, the wealth, if they actually acknowledged the slavery that they did and agreed to some sort of reparations, it doesn't just stop with money or reparations. Reparations isn't just money. It's the fact that they would have to apologize. Apologize for what? For what we did, acknowledging it was wrong. So in that acknowledgement, you have to acknowledge the fact that you stole so many inventions from black people and hid it, suppressed it. You would have to acknowledge all the great artifacts and information and knowledge that black people have proven throughout the years, and you'd have to go back and literally rewrite the whole entire world. All these statues, Christopher Columbus, oh, he founded America. How can you found something when other people are already there? And this is the problem. It will literally evaporate this entire social order of white supremacy. They would literally become the new Negroes. They would become the bums of the world. And they don't want that. They don't want to see their white women being destroyed by black men in bed. That is BBC. They don't want to see white men being ridiculed, held out of office, put in jail for their crimes. You know, Satan transformed himself into an angel of light, right? Well, what happens when the light goes out? So there's no profitability for them. It's like a fall from grace. And this is why they can't offer reparations. You know, David Cameron, when we was in COVID, before COVID, I got a chance to meet him. And it's no honor, you know, screw him. But the truth is, the same year that I got to meet him, I remember that they said he had received, it's in the news, he received 50 million pounds. 50 mil. 50 million. Guess what? For slaves that his grandfather lost. So let me get this straight. This guy, yeah, can get 50 million. 50 million for slaves he never had, but his grandfather had. Not even his father, his grandfather. he can get 50 million for that. But you will have this little white cracker bitch who will sit here and say Negroes don't deserve reparations. And then, I'm going to play this clip, right? Because she's talking to Sarah Garvey, and this is what I'm saying about these type of brothers. I got a lot of love for Sarah Garvey, right? But I'll be honest with you, he's one of these divided mentality Negroes as well. Because you know why? It's just like in the Bible where Moses said, "Let my people go." The Bible says, "Come out of Babylon." So this is the problem. You have men who are great, like Sarah Garvey, who will get on his knees to enter that $1 million status. And this is the problem. So I'm going to play this clip because Pearl talks about the reparations, and David Cameron can get 50 million for slaves who he never even had. But us who were enslaved, we can't get a penny for what our grandparents went through. And in this clip, she's going to say, oh yeah, well, if reparations were given to those that were still alive, then maybe. It's bullshit. But check it out.
You just said that. Do you think that historical catastrophes must be compensated for?
No.
No.
That's stupid.
So then, I'm not agreeing or disagreeing.
Yeah.
So then, how come there were groups of people that got compensation then?
How come?
For instance, like Jewish people, Chinese people, Japanese people with the bombs. Like there were groups of people who got compensated.
I don't know.
So it wasn't fair.
What? Well, I'm talking about like when I think about group, I think about reparations. So I mean, maybe if the people were still alive today, like I don't know, maybe. But like when you said historical, I thought you meant like at the past, not the present.
Yeah, so like in the past, so like people talk about slavery. So in the past, you know, the Holocaust happened. In the past, the Japanese, but people got compensated for it.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And this thing, one of the things I think it's a double-edged sword with a lot of black people actually, because you can double-edge between victimhood and not, and it's like give us our money. It's like, first of all, I don't think reparations is viable. First of all, I don't think any country is going to cripple their economy for a bunch of people. I just don't believe that it's going to happen. However, do I think, given the there's a book, right, called How Europe Underdeveloped Africa. And when you read that book, you realize that the whole industrial revolution and stuff like that was started because of the colonization. And you just think, well, if you didn't do that, then you wouldn't be as successful.
So what do you mean by the colonization?
So the colonization of Africa, so both the people and the resources, right? There's a direct correlation between the colonization of Africa and the Industrial Revolution.
Okay.
And so with all the metals and the rubber and all this kind of stuff coming from Africa, it fueled the Industrial Revolution of the West.
Wait, so you're saying like in Africa, when you say colonize, you're saying like did England come in and colonize?
Yeah, like so European, France, Spain, Portugal, England.
And they like enslaved Africans, and that's what you're saying. Okay.
So they enslaved and at least colonized the continent. Okay. So when you colonize a continent and then you take ownership of the resources, you're able to gather those resources together and use them to your own benefit. Right. And so you gather those resources, use them to your own benefit and build up your economy, all the while messing up the economy of that actual country. Right.
Yeah, so look, there you heard it for yourself. She's literally saying, no to reparations. I don't care about reparations. At the end of the day, I think it's a situation that will change the world, and the change is so huge that I don't think it's something that is biblically prophesized, right? So I don't see that matching with the prophecy. And those of you might think, Remnant Prince is a fool, he believes in the Bible, he believes in God, what an idiot, blah 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 blah. But hey, this is where I stand. The prophets spoke a prophecy. And that type of scale of change is something that's prophetic. And it's only supposed to be one way. So, I mean, Pearl here, she says what she says, and I think, she's trying to act all innocent, and she's trying to act like she don't know this or know what that is, and, she's asking Sarah what's colonialism, and who colonized who, and playing the fool. But listen, you step and fetch Negroes, you can play the fool with her, but it's to your own demise. Y'all gotta hold this L, okay? Because at the end of the day, I've never subscribed to that channel. Don't get me wrong, I do tune in and listen. But I tune into a lot of bullshit and listen so that I'm aware of a lot of the bullshit that's out there. Doesn't mean I subscribe or ascribe to it. And then I don't support people like that of that magnitude. It's a load of crap. But at the end of the day, you all played yourselves. And Pearl is running to the bank laughing about it. Yeah, I mean, she's laughing hard in y'all face. And, this is the thing, right? Like, I listened to that bullshit ass apology that she made talking about Nick Fuentes and touching on the comments or whatever. And, to me, it's bullshit, because at the end of the day, she never says she's sorry for who she offended, and she's sorry that, for how people may have felt about it, and she apologized because, in my opinion, she apologized because she recorded that crap and posted that crap, and people got to see a side to her they didn't know existed. And she says she knows she messed up and it was her mistake and da-da-da. Will she repent now? So this is the thing, right? She is not sorry. What she's sorry about is that she revealed herself. That's what she's sorry about. She's sorry that she wasn't smoother with it. That's what she's sorry about. She's not sorry about y'all. Y'all are some fools if you think that. But y'all will still think that. It's very foolish. Well, that's all I've really got to say. I mean, I could say a whole lot more, but I think I've said enough, and it is what it is. Do you guys think that she's racist? Do you guys think that she's a supremacist? What do you guys think? Don't forget to drop me a like. Do drop your comments, and don't forget to subscribe. Until next time.